everybody knows Ken, right? Now, when he's at Cowboy Church, we call that thing, that music thing, he's got a fiddle. But really, he's like a professional, I mean, to do wearing black tie, being a concert violinist. I mean, fancy type of stuff, you know. But now here's the fiddle. But I've seen him perform at some of them big time events, you know, tuxedos and whole 9 yards and everything. I always wondered, I wonder if he goes to them places and tells them about playing a fiddle on a thing, trying not to fall off of it or what.
On a stage it's rocking and swaying.
Good, ain't it?
That's funny.
I'm going to turn on, ain't I? Hey, you can give me a few minutes. I got something to share with you. I feel a little bit out of character or out of normal or what anyway. So, you know, down here we believe in total victory, right? We may not be there yet, we may not have it all figured out, but we have settled the fact that it is the Father's good will for us to be blessed and for us to be healed and for us to be the head, not the tail, that it's His heart's desire to pour as much prosperity on us that we can handle, as much success as we can handle, as much results as we can handle, right? So now it's His idea to get our ability to handle up a little bit, right? So by straightening out our thinking. So total victory, that's what we're going after, right? Like, good. We're over this religious nonsense of, oh, we've got to suffer along and woe is me and hang on till Jesus comes. That might be where we start out, but it ain't where we're going to stay. All right? So in that total victory, now all this stuff that we got to get purged out of our heads, you've heard me say this before, that Jesus taught on the seed and the sower. Jesus said, every seed, you know, that your heart is like the soil. And this word is a seed. But there's also seeds, a lie can be planted in your heart and grow. And so, I was saying, our prayer's been over however long now about, Jesus said this, every seed that is planted in you that was not planted by my Father is getting plucked up. Right? Getting plucked up. So, there you go. All this stuff we believe, lies, and so all this stuff that the enemy's concocted has kept us squelched and all this. Well, we're going up, and we're going towards total victory, and every seed that was not planted by my Father is getting plucked out of my belief system, and we're just going higher and higher and higher. So we believe in total victory. Believe in total victory, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. By here? All right, so that being said, I kind of feel like a little different character tonight because that stuff's happening, and it comes by kind of teaching and understanding and learning and knowledge, and so that happens. The more we learn, the more we untrain, and the more we realize. See, I found this out, that when the Bible talks about light, or a lot of times in the light of something, enlightened, my heart has been enlightened, or it means I've come into the understanding of something. It's like, or now I have knowledge of this, right? It's like in the old cartoons. Remember when we were kids and Wile E. Coyote or something would get a light bulb come on up here? It's because he got an idea, or something came to him. He got a thought, right? Well, it's the same way. So coming into the light of something would be now into the knowledge and the understanding of something, and the opposite of that would be the darkness. And so I saw this where in the book of Jude, he writes about that angels that did not keep their proper abode were cast down, right? That left heaven, and he, capital H, he. Let me just read it. Jude is right before Revelation. There's only one chapter. Verse 6. And the angels who did not keep their own domain, but abandoned their proper abode, he, capital H, he has kept in eternal bonds under darkness. He, that be God, has kept them in eternal bonds under darkness. Alright? For the judgment of the great day. He has kept them in bonds under darkness. These are fallen angels we're talking about. Spirits that are anti-God, right? The ones that went with Satan. You know, there was a third of the angels in heaven. Everybody believes in angels, don't they? And so a third of the angels left heaven with Satan. That's this darkness that we have to deal with now. So normally I teach and we talk about this and we come in understanding and light starts to happen. And when light starts to happen, because God bound them to darkness, they can only operate under darkness. So these evil spirits, if you will, dark angels, how are you going to say evil, that can only operate under darkness. You with me? Okay, so now stay with, go back to now what is darkness? Not knowing. Stepping into the light of something, knowing. I understand that now. I know that now. I know something now. Now I've figured that out, or He's given me revelation of that. Now I know this. I'm establishing that. I'm in the light on this subject. But I didn't know. Now that I'm ignorant of something else, I'm in the darkness on that, right? You with me? Be like my buddy Bon over there. He's a mechanic. He can tear down a car, put it back together, and do it for fun one day, I guess. But I can't even, I mean, he has to help me check my oil. But now if it eats grain, I can handle it. If it eats gas, I'm out. So when it comes to that, I'm ignorant of that. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way or critical. I don't know. I'm ignorant of that. So I walk in darkness in that area, right? God has bound evil spirits under darkness, and as long as I remain in darkness in certain areas, they're free reign to operate in my life in that area. You with me? Alright, so normally I just kind of teach that stuff and the light comes on and the light comes on there. And so I feel a little bit different tonight because don't pressure Cowboy and don't get in the Cowboy's face, even though he's calm and collected and all that, but you back him in a corner, you're going to find out what he's made of. Don't back him in a corner. I'm not talking to anybody here, I'm talking to the darkness. Okay? And so, normally we just kind of teach that stuff out here nonchalant, there's power in the gospel. But tonight I'm going to get a hold of one by the throat and I'm going to drag him out here in the light and I'm going to watch him fall off of people's lives and watch him scream and cry out that door. Is that alright? Look here what I found. Look here what I found. This is John 13. I'm still talking about total victory. John 13. 50. I'll just start at 57. This is where Jesus came back to Nazareth, his hometown. He came back to Nazareth. He'd been doing all this incredible stuff, miracles like crazy, and all this stuff going on, right? And he gets back to Nazareth, and they're all like, "That's the carpenter's son, we know him." And that, his sisters live here and his brothers, and like he's just a normal guy. What is this going on here? With me? You've heard this because it says he did no mighty miracles there, right? So this one place it said because of their unbelief they did no mighty miracles there, right? We've heard of it because of that. But let me back up just a little bit. Verse 57 says this, "And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his hometown and in his own household, and he did not do many miracles there because of their unbelief." I say, one of our prayers is, we want total victory, we want to walk in, we want to see miracles. We do see miracles. And so we believe in healing, we see all that stuff, and so sometimes though, we're on a quest to get to where sometimes, why ain't it working fast enough? Why doesn't it work fast enough? How come it didn't happen here, there, where? I want to know something. So this passage right here interests me because even Jesus in this instance was hindered. Even Jesus in this instance right here was hindered. I'd say maybe Jason could learn something about this. And so I got to think about this. And so it says this. I've been knowing, you ready, Rosemary? I've been knowing that I was going to preach a message titled this for 2 or 3 years. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I get to do that tonight. Here's the title for you. Ready? Everybody say this with me. So what? So what? That was a little bit weak. Say it with me one time. So what? Ready? All right, there you go. We'll get it later. We'll get it later. That was practice. I say this. Eric, Shay's here. Oh boy. I was going to talk about her a little bit. She's all right, but she's Shay. She's my oldest. She's 17, and she's a girl. She's in high school, and enough said about that, right? So she comes home one day, and she comes home, and they're playing ball. It's homecoming. They're basketball competitive. They're really competitive anyway. You know, it's Goreville. I mean, sports is. I mean, it don't matter. Sports is the deal in Goreville, you know. It don't matter. Nothing else matters. Sports is sports. And so here they was having a homecoming game, and then, I don't know, it was real heated, and they got in a fight. A lot of people heard about it. It's on the news, all this. Got in a fight, all big deal, you know, and this big mess. And so they're all fired up, and then so some of them's kicked out of the game, all this stuff going on. And so then the next game come along, and the school they're going to play, then send an email up there to Goreville about, you know, kind of about sportsmanship and this kind of stuff and all this. And so then they get to the game, and then the pep rally and all that, they're kind of chanting sportsmanship, kind of insinuating that Goreville ain't the greatest sportsmanship in the world. But, you know, I mean, hey, if the shoe fits, put it on, right? I mean, I didn't mean to say that out loud. But so she comes home all up in an uproar. They did this. They sent an email. They spoke this at the game. They was all the whole class are all in an uproar over it, right? And so I said, "Slow down." So you're all uproar and upset because they're supporting and promoting sportsmanship? Am I understanding that right? Well, now what? I said, and because at the game they were chanting sportsmanship or something like that. So they're promoting sportsmanship. You're all up in an uproar about that. Well, it's because they were insinuating they were, Shay. There's nothing wrong with promoting sportsmanship. Nothing wrong with being proud of sportsmanship. Nothing wrong with promoting it, is there? So why is it that you're offended? Because of their, you assume that their motives and insinuating and all this, right? So that we assume, and maybe that's right. Maybe that's right. I'm thinking, you're all up in an uproar and your day's ruined. Their day's not ruined. Right? So I say, look, if you decide you want to be offended, there's always a reason for you to be offended. There's always a way that you can be offended if you want to be offended. I can see this, that there's a spirit of offense. Anybody ever watch the news? I quit watching it. I don't even watch it and I can tell it. Everybody out there is, and I ain't going to begin to be political or any of that, but everybody there is looking for a reason to be offended. I know this out of character for me. I'm telling you, it's a spirit. It's a spirit. Let me read this again. Matthew 13:57. What's your New Living Translation say? Matthew 13:57. And they were deeply offended and refused to believe it. Did no mighty miracles there. They were deeply offended. I'm telling you, being offended is a spirit. I'm going to shine light on him tonight. He's going to fall out of our lives. And another seed plucked out of our hearts, and another brick off the wall, and the flow of miracles is going to happen. I say this. They sent an email. Maybe they did have assumptions, and maybe they were being. No, I told Shay. So what?
Yeah. So what?
So what? You know, most of the times that we get offended, the reason we're offended, or the people we're offended at, most cases don't even know that they've done something worthy for us to be offended of. Being offended, I thought about this, really being offended is a real close kissing cousin to unforgiveness. Because we're learning about love, right? We're learning about love. A revelation of love. You've heard me over the last however long, years now. Unconditional love. That whatever you believe about the kind of love that God's loving you with is the kind of love that you have to love with. Right? And so in that, once we figured out that we're totally forgiven. We are forgiven. Past, present, future, we are forgiven. And when you understand that, you get revelation of that, now since you've received that, you can also give that. Anybody here? Come on, I know what I'm talking about. I saw this happen in my own life. I'm not sharing something with you that I read about or heard somebody else talk about. I know that there was a cancer of unforgiveness inside of me that squelched and hindered everything that I ever touched. God took it off me just like that.
Amen.
Took it off. And when He took it off me, there are areas that whenever we're flowing, started flowing. Mighty miracles can start happening now because of this. Spirit of offense. Now I'm thinking about this. Love, we understand in love. Now we're loving with the kind of love that He's loving us with, right? I'm talking to grown folks in here, ain't I? Alright, so I don't have to go all the way back over that and get some CDs if you know, love. You're loving with the kind of love that you believe He's loving you with. So if there's a problem with your loving, if there's a problem with the way someone else is loving, see, someone else didn't love you right. Someone else did this to you. Someone else did that to you. You can be offended at anybody. You can be offended at yourself. You can let yourself down. You can, according to the text, you can be offended at God. You can be born again, on your way to heaven, and live your life offended at God. Because you thought He should have done this way, you should have thought He handled that differently, and this, that, and you just offended. And you carrying around a spirit of offense, and you wonder why mighty miracles ain't happening. I'm saying that you can forgive people and let go of offense. Why? Because this. If there's a problem with the way someone's loving, it's only because they don't know how He's loving them. If there's a problem with the way somebody's acting, it's because they don't know that they're totally loved, completely unconditionally loved. Once you come into the understanding of that, the revelation of that, that's the way you start loving. It might not happen in the blink of an eye, but it's a process, and you start coming into that, and you start living in that. I'm saying this, if you want a reason to be offended, you can find it. Heck, I know people who want to be offended so bad, they'll make one up if they ain't got one. You know them. I say this, now that we understand love, love is not self-seeking, right? Really the opposite of love. You ready? The opposite of love is selfishness. The opposite of love is selfishness. Now let me ask you this. Can you be offended and not selfish? pray let that sink in. Think about it. Remember the coffee? The very understanding of what love is someone else is more valuable to me than I am my own self. Right? It's love. It's a revelation of love. It's what, when you start understanding what unconditional true love is, perfect love that John called it, when you start understanding what that is, you realize that, someone else is worth more than you are to yourself. It's what Paul means when he says, die to self. Understanding love makes some of those tough things that Paul said that we never did quite really wrap our minds around start making sense. Dying to self is this. Love. Love. Love is not self-seeking. Love is selfless. Let me ask you this. Die to self. Selfless. If you're operating and living in love, which we are, we're getting it. We're growing in it. If you're living in a revelation of love and you're selfless, can you now be offended? You can't be offended and not be selfish. Squirming.
Come on.
Light's getting brighter. I'm going to tell you something. You can hold an offense in you for someone or something that's happened, and they don't even know that they've ever offended you. It's wrecked and ruined your life and not had any effect on their life. Here's what I'm saying. Over and over and over, Jesus said, forgive. Forgive. Hey, whatever you're doing, you think of something you ought with your brother, leave it, go. You took care of, let it go. Forgive them. If they have, even if you owe them forgiveness and they have wronged you, it's simply because of this. They don't have an understanding of how much they're loved.
Amen.
And you loving unconditionally will help give them a revelation of that. And you loving them unconditionally will be a factor of changing their life.
Amen.
Now, I'm not putting it on you as a work. I'm saying get a revelation of how He's loving. Don't do love. Be loved. You can't do love. Love's not something you do. Love is something you become by seeing how it is that He loves you. Well, I say this. Anybody tired of having spirit of offense squelching and operating in your life? I say this. Let it go. Let it go. Anybody tired of letting that old rotten, bitter seed of unforgiveness rule and operate? I'm telling you this. For me, it was subconscious. I grew up in church. I knew how good a Christian boy was supposed to act. Somebody did me wrong, I forgive you. What you're supposed to do, right? Outwardly. Because I've been trained, and that was the right thing to do. But on the inside, I'm going to get you. And I'm going to tell you this. When you're holding that, I'm going to get you in there. You're the one getting God.
Amen.
Spirit of offense. It's attacking the church. Look in the world.
That's right.
I'm shining light on it. I'm no longer going to be offended. You know why? Because what you do or what you think of me is not where I get my identity. What happens around me? Since when did the people of God have to worry about who's in the White House anyway? I'm not saying don't be involved in it. I'm not saying don't vote. I'm not saying none of that. I'm not even getting political. But so what?
Yeah, that's right.
God can use a donkey. I'm just saying we ought to quit bickering and start loving. I'm saying we ought to let it go. They might deserve. They might have done you wrong. They may have insinuated. They may be wrong. You may, so what? Let it go. Peter said this, Lord. You think I ought to forgive my brother 7 times? I'll do 7. Jesus said, Peter, 70 times 7. Because you'll lose track by them. It ain't even about them. You just keep forgiving, because forgiving's setting your heart free. It's letting the spirit of offense not operate and choke your life. It's so that you can stay in love. And when you stay in love, the miracles of God will be, I'm telling you what God can do in a free heart will blow your mind. Faith worketh by Everybody good? Everybody ready to let it go? You may not even know you have it. But I'm turning the light loose on you tonight, and whether you know you have it or not, I'm putting a run on the spirit of offense.
Amen.
I don't care. I'm putting it in the air. They can feel it from Washington as far as I'm concerned.
Amen.
No more of this mess being offended.
Hallelujah.
So what? Everybody say it.
So what?
That's pretty good.
I think we got our title.
Oh, you guys better go sing. Come on, dude. Sing if you want to. Gosh, I'm over, but we ain't religious, are we? We go longer. Hey, if it's God, we go 2 hours. If it ain't 20 minutes, it's too long. Everybody good? Everybody gonna let it go? Yeah. Every seed that was not planted by the Father is getting plucked out. Right here?
Amen.
Right good? Yeah. All right, let's let it go. Now you watch. Now you watch. I'm telling you, you let that thing go. Whether you know it or not, you let that thing go. You quit being offended. You just, if you got unforgiveness, you'll just go on and give forgiveness. Doesn't matter if they've apologized. Doesn't matter if they deserve it. Doesn't matter if they even know it. Fooey. It isn't about them at all anyway. Who cares? So what?
So what?
You just let it go. And you watch. You watch. Everything that you touched used to be hindered. Now becomes blessed. Now the things that used to struggle to try to make it work somehow, now all of a sudden starts working. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about.
Amen. Good message.
One more time.
So